about Electra? Do you know what Electra is? Electra is one of the 7 sisters. She is one of the 7 stars of the Pleiades. Electra. And you know, the funny thing is, there's 7, but you can only see 6. And the reason they say is because Electra came upon a point where she had to look at people hurting one another, and she turned her head.
Is that where mourning becomes Electra?
Yeah.
Ernest Hemingway, or Eugene, no, I'm not who, but mourning, it's not M-O-R, it's M-O-U-R, is right. Mourning Becomes Electra was written about this. She's one of the 7. And the 7 sisters. But this is what's important. When you hear Cheryl talking about electron, and when I tell you about Electra, this is why this is so critically important. The 7 sisters of the Pleiades. I didn't write this down, but do this for me. Go to Genesis chapter 38. Forget Genesis. Go to Job. I don't know. Somebody's going to have to tell me what page. Yeah. Job chapter 38. Tell me what page that's on, somebody.
458.
458. Go to page 458. Okay? I find myself starting to rush. Can you bear with me for a few minutes? I know I'm late, but I mean, just bear with me. Okay. Job chapter 38. You there? Look at verse 31. Can you bind the sweet influence? Job chapter 38, verse 31. Can you bind the sweet influence of Pleiades? Or loose the bands of Orion? In other words, there's a sweet influence that comes from the 7 sisters. This Pleiades is the 7 sisters. This is in the constellation Taurus. It's a sweet influence that's in the sign of the bull, the sign of power. Can you bind the sweet influence that says? Now, why is it so important, the 7 sisters, of which Electra? And what did I say? To see this, what did I say? I said that which comes to the 7 chakras is electrical energy, and as it passes through, they say ohm, because ohm is a measurement of resistance of electrical energy. Okay, ohm? But it's electric. Electra. And it goes through the 7, and she is one of the 7 sisters. Now, why is this so important? Go to page 1005 in the Bible. Look at Revelation chapter 5, verse 1. I mean, if I showed you this in a New Age book, but I'm not. I'm showing it to you in the Bible. All right? Look at Revelation chapter 5, verse 1, page 1005. 1005. You there? Okay. And I saw, Revelation chapter 5, verse 1, and I saw in the right hand, that word right hand means the right hemisphere of the brain, of him that sat on the throne, which is the higher mind, a book, the book of life, written within you, and on the back side, your spine, sealed with 7 seals. I mean, you know, if these people heard about this, and they heard, oh, Kundalini, stay away from that, that's evil, that's a cult, that's New Age, and all this kind of stuff. Have you ever heard them tell you it's in the Bible? But it is. And I didn't put it in there. At least not this time around. An electron removed from an atom creates nuclear fission. An electron that Cheryl was talking to us about, removed from an atom, creates nuclear fission. It creates energy. It multiplies energy. Things change. Things begin to happen. Atom having a rib removed is silly. But atom having an electron removed is power. That's what that means. All life began with the splitting of the atom. So we look to quantum, and we go away from classical physics. Albert Einstein could never deal with it. Albert Einstein was such a brilliant person. You know what the most trouble he had? He had trouble doing his income tax. He had to have a guy do him for him because he couldn't figure it out. Because he was given something by nature, said this is it. But when it got to quantum, one of his closest friends, Max Born, said, you know, Albert, poor Albert, he sits in his room, and he couldn't deal with it. In other words, quantum physics brought us something totally new. astrophysics. And astrophysics said to us that the universe is the result of predictable physical processes, and the symbol for astrophysics of which we're looking for the 8 planets and the 7 sisters. The 7th sister hasn't come yet. We only have 6. Where's the 7th sister? And quantum physics came from the Coptic Gnostics. And they gave us the symbol. And they gave us the word, which we've talked about, the crystallized light. And they gave us the number, 4555. And the number is a galaxy. Now, this symbol, which now has begun to mean so much to you, and now I've got to watch what I say, but I'm not going to watch what I say. You just deal with it. This came from a place called Sumer. Sumer was in Mesopotamia. I'm talking about 5,000 years before your Bible started getting involved here. Okay? And that's where it originated. And it originated... Have any, I know you have. All right, let me tell you. There was something called the Brotherhood of the Snake. And the Brotherhood of the Snake were people who came from another place. Human, physical people who lived in another planet and who came here and who occupied this place for quite a while. And they came as the Brotherhood of the Snake, and they used the snake as a symbol. And their mission here was to overcome oppressive cultures, governments, and religions that obstructed people's ability to be free. Okay? The story that you have, the part of the story that you have in your Bible of Adam and Eve, that you've been told the snake is the evil one, is the Brotherhood of the Snake. The snake came for one purpose: to set Adam and Eve free. And that's why, when the snake was successful, the controlling aspect in that book said, now they've become like one of us. You see. For all of your life, you weren't allowed to do much thinking or expressing. You had to do what they said. Now you become like one of them. In other words, you do the searching, you do the thinking for yourself. So this is where this came from. And these were people who left Sumer, went back, came back and forth to Sumer, so forth, so on, so on. Okay? I'm just... Sumer is the home of Ea, who is the water god. Okay? When you take the word Ea and you translate it into Greek, it becomes Oannes. When you take that same word and translate it into English, it becomes John. Ea also forms the basis of the word east, from which the right side and all of that comes from. The god of Sumer was the sky god, and the sky god's name was Anu. Any people that came from the other place, and I think we know where that was, who arrived here, whenever their name was written, it would be preceded by that. Meaning, this one is from there. Does not belong to the earth. He belongs to the sky. This was called, now this is exactly what this was called. This was called the planet symbol of Anu. The planet symbol of Anu. Okay? I want to show you something. And I haven't in the documentation, and my friends, you can read this in Grolier's encyclopedia. You don't have to, it's not a big deal. Okay? there's something I saw here, and I want you to look at it, especially. I think you'll be interested. And I did not see this as far, but I found it curious. In Sumer, the capital, well, first of all, the water god was Ea. Who knows the moon god of Sumer? Sin. Sin. S-I-N. Okay? Which represents the emotions. Dwelling in the emotions is dwelling in sin, as you know. Okay. But this is what I thought was fascinating. The capital city of Sumer was Ur. And the sky god of Sumer was
Uranus.
Is that true? I don't think anybody else saw that.